For the past 2 years, Beth Rye from Yeovil has suffered with extreme dizziness, making it hard to leave her own house. The cause of these symptoms is a mystery.
There are some days where I feel like I don't even want to get up because I just feel so dizzy and sick.
She wakes up every day feeling drunk and disorientated.
My head is just constantly just spinning around and round and round like this. I'm also really sensitive to sound, so I can hear my heartbeat really loudly in my right ear. So anything simple, just as dropping something on the floor, can really affect me, or a car horn or sirens outside can make me really dizzy, and they can sort of make my eyes kind of bounce as well.
2 years ago, Beth was fit and healthy and completing a nursing degree in Oxford.
I was really active at university. I cycled everywhere, went to the gym a lot. Doing children's nursing, I was on placement, so I worked quite a lot of the time at the hospital. The week before, I'd celebrated my 23rd birthday, and I was out in Oxford with all my friends, and I just was completely fine. I was just non-stop, like, all the time. The last kind of memory I have was sat at a computer.
Beth was typing some notes when she suffered a severe attack of dizziness.
And I just pretty much collapsed as I came through the door. The dizziness had just got completely unbearable, and I could just hardly stand. It basically feels like I'm just constantly on a boat and that I'm just seasick all the time. Another way to kind of describe it is if you've had, say, 1 or 2 drinks. I just feel like I'm going to fall over.
Barely able to manage basic day-to-day tasks, Beth was looked after by her mum and dad.
When she first went to the GP, they thought it was an ear infection, so they gave her antibiotics. She had those for 5 days and they didn't work. So we went back to the GP and she was given stronger antibiotics. And they still didn't work. We were regularly going back to the GP after every course of antibiotics saying, this hasn't worked.
I was referred to an ear, nose and throat specialist. He just said I had a virus and that I would get better, and he actually discharged me.
But we really at that point felt we needed more answers. So we then paid for her to see a consultant privately, and he basically said the same, that there was nothing wrong.
It was just frustrating because you know something's not right, but nothing's making it get better.
As the months rolled by, Beth's bizarre symptoms were dismissed by specialist after specialist, and her condition continued to deteriorate.
You assume that the medical profession can help you, and then finding that even the best doctors you're going to don't have the answers.
The most important thing in life is your health. If you don't have your health, you don't have your life.
My GP was the one person who kept pushing and pushing for me to get an answer. So in the end, she had referred me to a specialist in Oxford, and it was there that we sort of started to move forward.
The consultant in Oxford agreed to carry out more tests in the hope of ruling out any rare diseases or conditions.
My feeling was, well, of course she's not going to have a rare condition. It's got to be something more simple than a rare condition.
After months of debilitating dizziness, would these new tests provide the answers Beth had been searching for? Beth Rye is unable to lead a normal life and has struggled to get a diagnosis for a bizarre set of symptoms.
With my balance, it basically feels like I'm just constantly on a boat and that I'm just seasick all the time.
After 9 months of suffering, she was sent to Oxford, where a consultant ordered a more in-depth CAT scan.
When the results came back, he confirmed that in fact Beth had this rare condition called superior semicircular canal dehiscence. That was the first time that we had been told that it could be anything at all like that.
Semicircular canal dehiscence is caused by a hole in the bone between the brain and the inner ear, the organ responsible for our balance. The hole is tiny, but its effects can be surprisingly powerful.
I felt so relieved that someone was finally being able to tell me why I wasn't getting better, and there was a reason for it. I was told that the treatment for it would be surgery. That was quite scary, to know that that was kind of the only fix for me.
Beth was referred for surgery in Cambridge, where she underwent an operation to repair the hole in her inner ear.
It was a really difficult surgery and things kind of went downhill again. It made my dizziness worse and my surgeon sort of thought, oh, something not quite right here.
And that was a really horrible time.
There's been a lot of lows. That's probably the lowest.
Yeah.
Despite the unsuccessful operation, 3 months later, Beth underwent surgery again. This second operation also failed to cure her condition.
All my symptoms are still there. I realised that it hadn't worked.
It was almost 2 years after Beth had initially fallen ill. She'd seen as many as 8 consultants, and she was still no better.
We never felt that we would give up. No.
You
couldn't do that. No.
I started to look further afield on the internet just to find out about, the research that is being carried out in America.
She discovered that there are doctors who have vastly superior experience of this condition and use different surgical techniques which appear to be much more successful.
The one thing holding me back from going to the States was obviously the cost.
The cost of the surgery is £50,000.
Undeterred by this sum, Beth's brother began a fundraising campaign to raise money for the operation in America.
Hello everyone, thank you all for coming.
With an appointment and surgery already booked in the US, they had just months to raise the majority of the money.
And it's been quite phenomenal, the amount of response we've had and also the amount of money we've raised.
We leave for Boston in 11 days, not long at all.
They've been kind enough to donate a cheque for £500 to go towards Beth's cause.
I didn't ever kind of expect the response that we got, so that's taken a huge financial pressure off of us all.
Thank you, everybody!
Thank you!
I know that it's going to be really difficult, but I also know that it's my best chance and that I've just got to do it.
I am apprehensive about going to Boston, as our options really have run out in this country, and I don't really feel we have any choice.
After 2 years, countless appointments with specialists and 2 failed surgeries, Beth has arrived in Boston, Massachusetts. Her hopes for a cure are now resting on a 3rd operation, scheduled for Friday, with eminent otologist neurologist Dr. Daniel Lee.
Beth is a complicated patient. We know that she has symptoms of superior canal dehiscence syndrome. She's had 2 surgeries already.
Beth must undergo various grueling tests.
I'll start that pressure.
It's important to really hammer down what are the true issues that relate to the patient's concerns. All the ducks need to be lined up in a row for us to really consider someone as a possible surgical candidate.
Anytime you find that beeping, just raise up a hand.
Dr. Lee and his team also want to take a closer look at the tiny hole that is causing so much disruption for Beth.
So at the moment, nothing is set in stone. So until he's kind of got all that information, then he'll be able to tell me exactly what he wants to do.
She's putting on a brave face, but I think by the time we get to the end of the afternoon, she's going to be struggling.
It's been a tough day for Beth, but more than this, the tests have thrown up some astonishing results that put Friday's surgery into question.
What do you think? Now that I've seen the scans a few more times, it's thin. I think she has SCD symptoms. Her scans in the UK suggested a hole. She doesn't have a hole. I just saw the scans before coming down. She has thin bone. And for most people, that's not enough to justify surgery.
Dr. Lee must deliver the news to Beth that there is no hole.
Hello there. Good morning. Dr. Lee. Beth, great to meet you. First and foremost is that the scans seem to show that you don't have a true large hole of the inner ear, but rather the bone is extremely thin and perhaps a small crack is seen.
These new findings raise fresh concerns for Dr. Lee and his team.
And so this makes it even more of a challenging management decision because we haven't even really published this, but to successfully, I'll put it this way, so to address a patient with superior canal dehiscence, we generally would directly repair the hole. For an individual who has thin bone but not a true hole of the superior canal, the only way to potentially improve symptoms is to actually create the opening that's not yet there and then seal it.
Despite the fact there is no hole, Dr. Lee still feels that surgery is probably Beth's best chance of getting rid of her symptoms.
Ready to go? Go.
But before Beth is given the okay for this more complex procedure, she must get the all clear from a neurologist that there are no brain issues that might be causing her symptoms or that might complicate surgery.
So I'm actually a neurologist. I'm not an ear doctor. I'm a neurologist, a brain specialist. I specialize in this field that's called otoneurology, which basically has to do with how the ear interacts with the brain. And it focuses specifically on the balance part of the ear. This is what we're trying to judge today and why Dr. Lee asked me to see her. The basic question is whether doing additional surgery would be helpful to her or harmful to her.
But it's a complicated situation.
Yeah,
and
it's not straightforward.
Yeah.
Which is what she's been told all along by the consultants she's been seen before. It's it's not straightforward, and that's why we're here.
Beth and her family have travelled over 3,000 miles to find a cure for her condition, but it is now uncertain whether Friday's surgery will go ahead. Student nurse Beth Rye had just finished her studies when she was suddenly struck down with a condition that causes her to be dizzy all the time. The rare condition, semicircular canal dehiscence, was initially thought to be caused by a hole in her inner ear. She had 2 failed operations in the UK that attempted to repair this hole, but extensive testing in Boston has revealed there is no hole.
We don't know why this occurs. We know that most people in that category probably don't need surgery. We also know that there are a few patients who've undergone surgery successfully.
The only option available to Beth is for surgeons to drill a new hole and then reseal it. The operation is scheduled for Friday. Although it could cure her, this is a risky procedure. Dr. Lee will only perform surgery if she first has the all clear from a brain specialist.
It's an important decision to make whether to do the surgery or not, and so this will be a decision made collectively with the expertise of Dr. Lewis, who will weigh in on some of the central brain issues that could influence the outcome.
Nice to meet you.
Her hopes for a normal life are pinned on the opinion of one man.
Dr. Lewis is just examining Beth at the moment, but he's questioned her in quite a lot of detail.
If Dr. Lewis decides that this challenging surgery is unlikely to help her, Beth will be on the next flight back to London.
The good news is, as best as I can tell, this is the right thing for her. I don't see anything wrong in the brain, so I'm going to talk to Dr. Lee, and they're going to chat with him again, and I think even though she's already gone through a couple operations, it will probably get rid of this problem, and it's very disruptive to her life.
Although there's obviously no guarantee with any surgery that it is going to work, he's just given me that extra boost and hope that this is going to work and I'm a good candidate for the surgery and I can recover from this.
This is the information, and nothing to eat or drink past midnight tonight. Okay?
Thank you very
You're welcome.
much.
Good
Bye.
luck tomorrow.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye. I feel quite reassured that this is the right thing to do. I will try anything that will help. I'm ready to get it done.
It's odd, isn't it? It's
quite a
nervous,
system.
but excited.
We're going to leave with here for a minute so she can get all dressed with them.
Hello there.
Hello. Hello.
Happy Friday. Good to see you.
Hello.
Good to see you.
Happy Friday.
Hello there, Beth. How are you feeling today?
Okay.
Very good. Very good. And which ear are we doing surgery on today? The right ear?
Yeah.
So it goes behind the ear, above it, and just in front, right there, stopping short of the hairline. We've already talked about the surgery yesterday, the risks and benefits of the surgery, and the unknowns given the fact that it's not a true dehiscence. We know that there's a concern of real hearing loss. The other risks of the operation include brain fluid leak, seizures or memory loss, stroke, bleeding, infection, meningitis. We are gently tugging on the brain. We'll be very gentle and careful, but things can happen that we can't predict the outcome of. So we're going to start with the old scar and then come up above the ear.
To gain access to the inner ear, Dr. Lee needs to remove a small piece of her skull.
So let's take that temporalis fascia, essentially leaving a little circumferential rim of it. So we're in the process now of elevating our craniotomy bone flap. We'll be able to remove the bone flap and begin doing the exposure of the skull base to try to identify her canal dehiscence. We're going to head south now towards the skull base. We've identified the superior canals, and maybe right there, it looks a little moth-eaten right there. Looks really thin right there.
Dr. Lee's suspicions were correct. There is no hole, but the bone is very thin.
Do we know if this is truly the cause of her symptoms? I don't know for sure.
Having identified the problem area, Dr. Lee can begin drilling a new hole. With the brain exposed and in close proximity, it is a delicate procedure.
She's not light, right? She cannot be moving now. Keep her deep, please. Give her more juice, please. She should not be bucking. That was not the facial, that was anesthesia. What happened there? She was pretty deep, or did she just lighten up quickly?
With the anesthesia levels now under control, Dr. Lee can begin the incredibly delicate drilling in Beth's ear.
Yeah, there's a sort of pinpoint thin area there.
I don't think that we dare think in too much detail about what the future might hold for Beth. I think we just have to be realistic and hope that the doctors can help her to recover.
We're positive, but we don't want to raise our hopes because we've had our hopes dashed too many times already.
Yeah.
So we think we're on our way. Yep. It's pretty good there, yeah. Thank you.
Beth Rye is in the middle of brain surgery.
So that's the bone chip.
Dr. Lee is drilling a hole into an area of thin bone between her ear and her brain.
Beth is a complicated patient. She's had 2 surgeries already. The risks of surgery increase with every operation.
Only if Dr. Lee is able to successfully seal the new hole will Beth be cured of her condition.
We then repair that little opening with a tiny 1mm ball of bone wax in the hopes that this will help to reduce some of her symptoms, which are quite significant on the side. Let the family know that we've finished the repair of the superior canal and we're about to begin the process of finishing up the case.
Although Dr. Lee has managed to repair the defect, no one yet knows whether this has cured Beth's dizziness. Her parents share the news of the operation with her brother.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah.
It's all gone really well. We've seen the doctor and he's gone through it all with us.
That's the thin bone, just there.
That's the thin bone.
Wow. They picked up on they thought there might have been a hole, but it was just a...
It was a thin bone. To repair the thin bone, he drilled a very, very small hole and filled it with wax, and this is the best possible chance, you know, for her symptoms to go. So
Time will tell now.
time will tell. We just have to hope.
Yeah.
The minute she woke up in the ICU, it was really noisy, but it wasn't making me feel dizzy.
That's not bothering me.
That's not bothering me.
There was sirens, ambulances and fire engine, the stuff that would be torture for me before the operation, but it wasn't making me feel dizzier, it wasn't causing problems with my vision. That was like the first sign that things were fixed, and it was pretty amazing.
Although some of her dizziness remains, it is expected this will go after time.
I have good and bad days. I'm not living a normal life, so it's hard. It's really up and down.
She's able to move around more, her balance is definitely improved. She's not being sick anymore, which just must be such a relief for her, and it is for us as well, because she can eat now, and she's building herself up, and she's getting a lot stronger.
Yeah, she is, definitely.
I don't know where I'm going to be in 3 months' time. At the moment, I just think about the little things. Going for a meal, going to the beach. I haven't done any of these things in like 2-3 years. Who knows where I would be now if I didn't have the operation. I don't like to think about it, really. Because I don't think I would have ever got better if I hadn't gone to America.